Life is undeniably driven by passion, and so is entrepreneurship. For young entrepreneurs, it's really complicated to find something that drives our inner passion. But how can we do that? The first thing is to read diversely. By reading, we're understanding more about our environment, everything that surrounds us, and we can make usage of that in order to understand the problems in society. Mark Zuckerberg actually reads more than 20 books each 4 days, which allows him to understand and gain a wider coverage of what's going on in the planet. Second, listen to those people who make you think, either your parents, your friends, your teacher. We need a mentor. In the 21st century, not having a mentor doesn't mean failure. We need a mentor in order to scale up and grow, both as a person and to grow our business. For me, my passion came from her. She's my aunt. She's 42 years old. She suffered 3 times from breast cancer, once from thyroid cancer, and right now she's suffering advanced stage 2, which means nearly metastasis of lung cancer. She has empowered me since I was a kid to get interested in this specific niche, which is cancer. For those who don't know cancer, or who have a wider idea of what's going on, cancer is like Star Wars, which you may know more familiarly. In Star Wars, we have the bad guys, which is the Imperial Army, and the good guys, which are the Rebel Alliance. So we have the cancer cells and the healthy cells. The cancer cells, in some time, they gain extra power. So it means that they are going to win the war. So what we're trying to do is making usage of artificial intelligence to diagnose cancer at early stages, as soon as this gains the power, so that we at the same time can provide treatment and boost our immune system to fight cancer more effectively. One of the problems that I found, and that my aunt told me, is that results from the public healthcare system become available within 14 to 15 days after they are taken. A melanoma, which is a malignant condition of cancer, can take between 4 or 5 days to lead to metastasis, which means cancer spreading around all the body, and this is the worst condition to treat. There's a real problem, right? If we overlap both results, we might see that the problem is, how can we go from those 14, 15 days to 4 or 5 days and try to detect cancer at early stages? So you may know that I was a 15-year-old guy. Well, now I'm a little bit older, I'm 19. And when I had this question in my mind, I didn't know how to do. So the first thing I did is to SWOT yourself. SWOT, for those advanced entrepreneurs, means to analyze your business, to understand how your business works, the strengths, the weakness, and the opportunities. So I decided to SWOT, but SWOT myself. Because the best business, and this is an advice, the best business is you. You are your own model. So what I did simply is to analyze my strengths. It's really easy to know what you are good at, but it's more complicated to find what you are lack or what you are thin. So I had no money, I had no business experience, my cancer expertise was lacking, and I had no lab equipment to do like real research. So I didn't know how could I handle with that, until I remember some quote from my science teacher who said, "If you want to succeed, you need to become the smartest guy in the room." So I spent my whole 15 years old to understand everything about cancer, and by doing that, I also learned about programming, because I didn't have a lab equipment, so programming was really suitable. You only need a computer and just a crazy mind to do that. So I learned about cancer, about AI and programming, and I wanted to deploy a solution for the public. So everything made sense. I decided to build a mobile app, an MVP of a mobile app, from the users that they could screen their skin and diagnose whether they were suffering from a melanoma or they were suffering from a benign condition of cancer. Benign conditions is what we call by good cancer because they don't spread, they don't tend to metastasize. So my first MVP, I was 16 years old, and it had close to an 83% sensibility, which was quite good. Actually, dermatologists are nearby around 89%. So it was quite well working. But then I took the worst decision ever. I decided to focus on my studies, and I left the project behind. So I was no longer working for a whole year on it. until Huawei started a competition which was called Connected Campus Idea Competition for youngsters between 17 to 25 years old with the topic, how can technology improve society? One of my friends told me about it, so I submit a manuscript just to give a try. 1 month after that, I was taking off a flight to Berlin to pitch in front of Europe. I was sorted out as one of the finalists. But this was not only like great success for me at that time, but was that 3 months after that, I was traveling to China. I was collaborating with Huawei. I was the first in Europe, and I was pitching in front of Huawei expertise in order to see how can a partnership or a relation work well. So they were using AI, they are in the top cut of AI, and I was having an idea. So we decided to partner. So imagine 17-year-old guy winning a contest in Europe. This may happen for some of you who are young entrepreneurs, that you start winning contests. At that time, I was really in a high peak, and this was the worst thing ever. I thought that fame was increasingly in a really, really high peak that was going to reach never end, and also that money was going to come from investors. So I was overconfident. And overconfidence is bad as well as a lack of confidence. But the reality, after some TV programs, after some radios, interviews, newspapers, the reality was there. Nothing had changed. The reality is that I was broke. I had no money, I had no product, I had no team. So basically, I had nothing. And what I did is I had an equation which worked the first time. So I tried to send my manuscript to other pitch competitions, and I was pitching in front of business who were really making real money, like millions annually. So you may know that this equation was a result of failure, because I couldn't compete just a business model and a short MVP against real business. But at the end, I was sorted out as one of the finalists for a competition called Beanstalk Startup Competition. It was in London. So I put all my savings for that summer into traveling to London and pitched there. I was close to the 10 finalists, so I pitched there. You know, I was working with the same equation. What happened? I failed. I didn't win, obviously. But I want something which is more valuable than that, which is my co-founder. Turad Amin, he's the CEO right now of the company, and he's my closest friend, but not only that, he's also my mentor. And I told you that having a mentor is really important, because he makes me realize our potential, what can I do and what I can't do. So, after having a mentor and a co-founder, we decided to take up a business. So we found Biop AI in London. We have a physical space there, and we are using AI for early stage diagnosis of skin cancer, which is our first product, but now we are deploying other solutions for bladder cancer, colorectal cancer, for usage to our medical business partners, as well as our public, which we also want to target. So the result of that is that I went from nothing to having a team with more than 4 people in just 3 months. And right now we are more than 10 people, both in the marketing field, in the tech field, that we are trying to cooperate in order to improve and provide the best solutions in the market. So, so this is supposed to be a screen. So basically what our app does is that it takes a screenshot, and from that screenshot, we directly deblur the image. It means that we try to cover all type of smartphone cameras, no matter the resolution of the pixel level. We also then segmentate, which means that we remove the background. And finally, our classification method allows us to acquire such a 96% accuracy, which is in the top cut of the apps available in the market. So right now, Biop AI is undergoing clinical trials, both in Barcelona and London. We are waiting for the approval of the clinical trials and getting C++ market, which means that we can sell it as a medtech product, and also to get FDA clearance in order to grow and get more investment rounds. So at the end of these 3 months, 3 years entrepreneur journey, I may say 2 things. The first one, confidence is just your worst enemy. even a lack of confidence, being too shy. Investors, people are not going to trust you if you lack of confidence. So you need to trust in your product. And being overconfident is also really bad. We need to know our limitations, what can we do and what we cannot do. So I recently come from China, actually 4 days ago, and there I learned something very valuable. They call it guanxi. Guanxi means making networking, and this is extremely important. The main reason why China scales up really, really quick is because they do that. They try to connect. When they do dinner, when they have lunch, they usually connect with people, share LinkedIn, share social media, because you don't know when someone is going to be able to help you. So I would like to start with this thing of guanxi. I would like to guanxi with you. So for anyone who wants, we can connect through LinkedIn, any social media, so that you can ask me any questions. They have recently told me that there's going to be a question time, so through the Unleash app, you can submit any questions, and we can start doing this type of guanxi and networking. So I decided, after all, to change this formula. The formula that was giving me a failure, I decided to change it by adding a new variable. And this new variable was relentless hard work. Guess what happened? Relentless hard work gave me success. And when I was losing at pitching, now I started winning prizes, getting into accelerators, incubators, and right now, in 1 month, we're traveling to San Francisco, to Silicon Valley, in order to pitch in front of the Google headquarters, Facebook, and start getting coverage into the US market. So as a summary of this talk, I would like to say that there is no secret formula for success. Actually, most of the gurus will tell you that you need to follow patterns, that you need to follow models. But models suck. You need to understand and to create your own formula for success. The second one, always be patient for your project. At some point, I lose the patience. I left the project, and I completely regret that. We need to find the way to be patient for our entrepreneurship project. And finally, do guanxi. Networking is extremely important for what we are doing. So, 99% of the business usually lose. That's because they follow a trend. They are not patient or because of multiple variables. You have the key to be this 1% of business or projects that success. So it depends on you today, right now, if you want to be in the 99% or if you want to be in the 1%. Thanks so much. Oh. Should I say that? Okay. Have you ever been have you ever been underestimated because of your age? Yeah, that actually happens when you go. So I was 17 years old. I went to some investors. I went from some investing beach, which was organized by BioCat. I was like a really young guy with really old guys. So, and I was like, oh yeah, I did something about medtech, AI. I was pitching, and at that time, when you pitch with someone who has already a lot of experience in this world, I felt like I was really small. So it came as failure. But if your product is well, if you trust in your product, and it really has a valuable thing in society, this is gonna work. And it doesn't mean who you're talking and how old or how young you are, because you're gonna succeed. How do you imagine yourself? Should I continue? Should I continue? Yeah. How do you imagine yourself in 10 years? So in 10 years, basically, I just want to continue in the path. So my background is biochemistry, and I want to continue in this medical world. But apparently, in 10 years, my desire is to have the company, to have everything set up, maybe FDA approval. But I want to switch. I mean, one of my references is like Elon Musk. So I want to stack into my niche, which is the medical background, by trying to coverage other types of cancer disease, also conditions like Alzheimer, Parkinson, but early stage detection. How do you imagine, where do you want to take your company in the future? So we are already arranging things to take the company to the US. That's why we are going to San Francisco. And for my last experience in China, we have a highly chance to move there because they scale business really quick. So our idea is to make that, not to make a company only in London, but to try to cover the a wider spread, because cancer does not happen only in Spain or London or in Europe. Cancer is a worldwide condition, so we want to be in the biggest parts ever. Thanks so much again.